In this video, I'm going to teach you how to meal prep protein-packed breakfast sandwiches. These are going to be perfect for a post-workout treat or those busy mornings when you don't have time to cook. Let's get started. I'm going for a savory smoky flavor with these sandwiches, so I'm using rosemary, thyme, and chives. Make sure you chop the fresh ingredients as fine as possible. You want to prevent any gritty texture later on. The best part of this recipe is definitely the chipotle cream cheese spread. I used 2 big spoonfuls of whipped cream cheese and Cholula brand chipotle sauce. I went a little too light on the chipotle here, so you may want to add more to really bring out that smoky chipotle flavor. After I've mixed the cream cheese really well, I set it aside and I get started on preparing the beef. For the seasoning, I use garlic powder, salt, pepper, and smoked paprika. Mix the seasoning really well into the meat. Form it into a big ball and pull apart 6 equal-sized meatballs. There's a reason I like using meatballs instead of forming the meat into patties, and I'll explain why in just a minute. Now that you got your 6 meatballs, give them a little breathing room. Spread them out into 2 rows, and then place a sheet of parchment paper over the top. Flatten each meatball using a spatula. This is why I use meatballs, so you can get the patties as flat as possible. And you can do it quickly. We really want to make sure the meat fits nicely on the English muffin in the end. Next, crack 8 eggs into a large mixing bowl. For the sake of the video, I took out the part where I dropped the entire eggshell into the bowl and had to paw around like an animal trying to fish it out. After you crack the 8 eggs, you're going to want to pour in a 1/4 cup of milk. Stir the eggs in the milk until thoroughly combined. For this next step, you have 2 options. Mix the fresh ingredients into the bowl with the eggs, or sprinkle them on top of the eggs just before putting them in the oven. If you go with option 1, like I did here, make sure you mix it really well. You'll see why in just a little bit. Grease a medium-sized baking dish and pour in the eggs. From here, you're going to put the eggs in the oven at 400 degrees and cook for about 15 to 20 minutes or until the egg solidifies. While the egg bakes, it's time to fry up the patties. Normally, I wouldn't recommend pressing down on the patties like this with a spatula, and if I was making traditional burgers, I wouldn't do it this way. But like I said, we want the patties to be as flat as possible so they sit nicely on the English muffin and we have enough room for both the patty and the eggs. What did the cheddar say when you tried on a new blazer? I look sharp. That's right, come for the recipe, get a free dad joke on the house. Don't worry about the cheese not melting here. Remember, we're meal prepping, so this can be reheated later. And now we get to the reason I said to mix your fresh ingredients really well into the egg or sprinkle it on top before putting it in the oven. We definitely don't want all the ingredients to clump up like they did here, but no one's perfect and cooking is a learning process, so I left it in the video. Now that all the ingredients are prepared, we can start assembling the sandwiches. Start by putting a little cream cheese on one side of the English muffin. Notice that the English muffin is not toasted. Remember, that's because we're meal prepping and it's going to be reheated later. Add the egg, add the meat and cheese, top it all off with a little more cream cheese, and move on down the assembly line. That's it, you're in the home stretch. All that's left is to wrap these puppies in some foil and call it a day. When it comes time to reheat the breakfast sandwiches, you're going to want to put them in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future recipes.